I scoured an endless array of celebrity home gyms you guys can find on YouTube, from famous athletes, celebrities, and even popular YouTube fitness influencers. Their gyms range from decked out mini health clubs to more minimal setups, even like Lenny Kravitz, who just trains outside with a few weights and a trainer on his iPhone, which, by the way, shameless plug, is a service I'm offering. If you guys are interested in that, check out SlottingBenchTrainer.com. So when I noticed that these individuals who have their careers in some way built upon their bodies have a variety of home gym setups, I thought surely I could spot at least one total gym out in the wild. But after slowly and somewhat meticulously going through a number of videos, almost as if I was examining the JFK's Zapruder film, I eventually gave up and was left with the same unsurprising conclusion that even wealthy celebrities with thousands of dollars worth of equipment do not see the value of owning a total gym. There were, of course, a couple minor exceptions, which I'll mention at the end of the video briefly, but I won't talk about Chuck Norris, that's just too easy. In this video, I wanna comment to these findings and offer my opinion as to why we don't see celebrities using a total gym, despite the fact, as I've made in previous videos, I can think of no other single piece of fitness equipment that by itself can build solid aesthetics in a safe and very effective way. But before I get into it, guys, as always, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing if you find this at all informative or entertaining. And if you guys wanna help support the channel by getting some awesome products featured in this video, like a Slotting Bench trainer, such as a total gym, consider checking out and purchasing through the links below. It's greatly appreciated. So why am I even bothering making a video like this? Because it yet again demonstrates the complete lack of knowledge and respect that these machines should be having in the world of fitness. I've made other videos highlighting the same point, how even in just the general home gym community, you don't see total gyms being featured. And even people that for a living review home gym fitness equipment seem to turn an absolute blind eye to Slotting Bench trainers. Now, it's not that movie stars are really experts in physical fitness. It's more so that they are really the visual pulse on what the masses kind of believe, quote unquote, works in kind of this cycle of influence, where essentially, you guys know how it works. The famous person seems to talk about a product or uses a product, then that kind of spreads to the masses, or people will buy it or at least try it. Or the other way around, where just the general population and people start talking about a product, then eventually a celebrity starts adopting it, and then it further kind of spreads to everybody else. And there are so many examples of this in the modern fitness world. One good example is kettlebells. We saw kettlebells essentially come out of obscurity in the United States in the early 2000s with Pavel Taslini and DragonDoor.com. Then they kind of had a gradual dip. Then I'd say 5 to 7 years ago, Joe Rogan kind of started mentioning it. And then again, had a huge other influence into the rest of the popular culture, where essentially every guy I talked to had to pick up a kettlebell and was using kettlebells. And if you look at the vast array of fitness celebrities' gyms, they pretty much more or less look the same, like your typical at-home gym you guys would see on YouTube or on the internet, where they got your kind of usual good stuff like squat racks, kettlebells, dumbbells, free weights, medicine balls, suspension trainers, and then certainly some people have their own specialized equipment or single-use machines you guys might find in a gym. But I would say overall, you definitely see more of an emphasis on strength training, which is definitely a good thing as it's becoming more and more mainstream. But that's also not to say in these famous people's gyms, you also don't see a lot of different gimmick type items. And I'm definitely not saying that a total gym is a gimmick type item. I've debunked that constantly on this channel. But they obviously, my point is, they have the resources, they have the rationale, and they at least have the room and space to actually pick up one of these machines to add to their arsenal of fitness equipment. So if I really could get in the room with these people, or at least ask them 1 or 2 questions, I basically would ask them, why don't you have one of these, or why don't you consider getting one? Now, this is somewhat borderline a serious and also rhetorical question, because I pretty much know the answer, at least one of a few answers I might get, because it's the same kind of answer I believe I've heard from many of you, including myself, of why people don't use these things more often. The first reason I'd probably assume a lot of famous people are not using these things, maybe just because out of general influence. Like a lot of us, I'm sure there's kind of following general fitness trends along that line of kind of functional resistance training. I just made a video talking about that term. While I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it, but that's the reason why I think you see a lot of resistance training skewed around mace bars, kettlebells, dumbbells, free weights, medicine balls, all that stuff I kind of mentioned, versus some old school stuff like bodybuilding using isolated free weights and machines. Although there's definitely some celebrities that kind of seem to be doing more bodybuilding, like The Rock's a good example. I heard he actually kind of flies out a whole tractor trailer full of all his specialized equipment, and you can see just through his training, he still likes kind of incorporate a lot of traditional bodybuilding type stuff. But regardless of whatever method they're using and why they're using resistance training, there's still, in my opinion, no excuse to not at least incorporate or include a total gym, especially when you consider if they have dumbbells or kettlebells or resistance bands or whatever, because I've made many videos comparing a total gym to any one of those tools. And head to head, I would say at the very least, a total gym is either on par, if not superior in a number of ways to those other tools. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to include those as well. Now, another reason you might not see them is they simply just don't know how to use it. It's become more and more apparent that the total gym, especially in the way I've uniquely kind of discussed using it, in my humble opinion, is not being maximized to its true potential, especially for building muscle. And again, not to put myself on a huge pedestal here because I have learned from many of you guys and to thank for that, but the stuff we're showing here on this channel using a Total Gym exclusively for resistance training, I have really not seen anywhere else. Now there is of course a possibility, giving them the benefit of the doubt, they just haven't heard of the Total Gym or kind of forgot about it. And believe it or not, even though this is the longest running infomercial product, I believe, of all time across the world, I still meet people that never even heard of this machine. But finally, and sadly, I believe the primary reason you guys do not see these things in famous celebrity gyms is because these individuals simply do not see the value of using them, which I think goes along with the general public as well, which is incredibly unfortunate given many of their situations. They'd have to travel, so it's easy to kind of transport these machines or have it on location. That's kind of the classic story of how Chuck Norris started getting involved with the Total Gym. He was actually having Total Gym shipped out to him on location versus, say, The Rock, who, like I said, is bringing in whole tractor trailers of equipment to set up at-home gyms. And you might not be as serious as The Rock, but a lot of these celebrities have to travel and do different things. So an easy thing is just pack your gym up with you, very easy and lightweight relatively compared to like bringing a whole gym with you. Many celebrities, of course, have to look good for various reasons. And as I've mentioned constantly on this channel, there's no other machine, if I can think of it, that if you have limited time, limited resources, limited space, can really target and aesthetically build your muscle and get all those good parts of your body in a really good, efficient way. And not to mention, a lot of these people, especially athletes, are kind of banged up and looking for effective or at least alternative ways to kind of get quality resistance training in with much less aches and pains. Because I know I'm preaching to the choir, you guys, because that's a lot of you guys who have converts to this style of training. You're getting all the same benefits you're getting going to the gym using traditional free weights, with a lot less aches and pains and joint stiffness and soreness. Before I get into like what I think will change this, I did find a couple minor exceptions. In fact, the only exception, and I look pretty far and wide. You guys comment down below if you find anybody else. I'm sure there's tons of celebrities that actually do have them. I just couldn't find them kind of highlighted in the home gym. But the only person I found was actually through the Total Gym channel, and that was Shawn Michaels, the WWE wrestler. Had a whole feature of videos. I can link one or two down below, but if you search it, you guys can find it. He's the only person outside of Chuck Norris that I actually saw a video of seeing it featured in his home gym. Now, what do I think will ultimately change this, where you might see Total Gyms or sliding bench trainers getting more representation in pop culture? Not to be pretentious here, but I do hope this channel will usher in a new way to use it and also take advantage of this machine. But all it's really gonna take is one or two of these celebrities, I said maybe like a Joe Rogan type of person, just briefly kind of mention it to get people's attention kind of steered in that direction. Or certainly one of these celebrities just kind of falling in love with it like many of you guys have on this channel. And I really think you're gonna start seeing the tide shift a little bit. Or it could definitely be the other way around, which I think likely might be the case with this kind of grassroots effort that we're doing on this channel, where we're gonna influence the masses and you might see more of this stuff, famous quote unquote people starting to use this more. But in my opinion, remember this video, I don't think it's a question of if, I think it is a question of when, that you will start to see sliding bench trainers come into popular culture, come into mainstream gyms or home gyms and garage gyms, the same way you saw things like foam rollers, stability balls, kettlebells, suspension trainers, medicine balls making a resurgence. I think you guys are gonna see this as a very good, valuable tool and respected tool in the near future. Again though guys, that's just my take on it. Granted, I have a huge bias in this. Happy to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. And also if you know of any famous person or celebrity that is using a Total Gym, definitely drop it down in the comment section. Definitely kind of curious, especially if there's a video accompanying it as well. Thanks again for watching guys. I will see you on the next video.